I spent over 2 weeks visiting almost every single fragrance store in Korea. From the really big players like Tamburins and BORNTOSTANDOUT that you've probably heard of, and the tiny, tiny ones that you've probably never heard of. I visited almost all of them. And so today I'm gonna be breaking down which ones I thought are worth your money and what you should know before you plan a fragrance tour around Seoul. For each brand, I'm gonna break down a little bit of their history, their approach to perfumery, what I think their general scent profile is like, where they have locations in Seoul, whether they ship internationally, and which ones I bought. There's a lot of them, so let's get right into it. So many of them are located in Seongsu, so I'm gonna include an itinerary of all the ones that are located in Seongsu, so you can go literally walk down the entire strip of the main street and know which ones to hit when, which will be included in the description below. All right, starting off strong with one of the biggest players in Korea, Tamburins. You might recognize Tamburins as being owned by the same parent company as Gentle Monster, the eyewear company, featuring celebrities like Jennie from Blackpink and Felix from Stray Kids. Hugely popular fragrance brand in Korea. Like Gentle Monster, their flagship stores are crazy and have really cool exhibits, almost like an art museum. They're trying to really define an experience, which I thought was actually pretty cool. Sometimes I find these things to be kind of tacky, but like Gentle Monster, Tamburins does a really good job of setting up a really cool space. I visited their Seongsu flagship location, but they also have locations in Hongdae and Gangnam, I believe. To my knowledge, they don't ship internationally. Like a lot of the fragrance houses on this list, I think Korean fragrances tend to be on the lighter, more mild side. One, because I guess the culture, like in Korean culture, I think it'd be almost rude to project too much and take too much space, especially with super crowded and really dense in Seoul. So I think a lot of Korean fragrances are built with that kind of culture in mind. That being said, I think Tamburins have some really interesting notes. I don't think any of them are really that boring. A little bit more creative and also lean into Korean notes as well. And let me say, they got me good. They got me good. 3 fragrances from Tamburins. This is White Darjeeling, which is a white tea and champagne fragrance. Really nice, really crisp. Kind of reminds me of a summer wedding in a fruit orchard. Really enjoyable. The next one I bought is Summer Tales. I think this is one of their newer releases. It's supposed to remind you of the end of summer towards the beginning of fall. So it's lightly sweet, floral, woody, musky. I think it has cedarwood, lily of the valley, some geranium, some anise. And then the other fragrance that I bought was Botari. So I believe this one is supposed to be based on mushrooms. And if you look at the full-size bottle of this, it has like kind of a mushroom cap. A lot of their caps are very fun and playful as well, like this one. But yeah, this one is like super musky and almost animalic, I would say. Really nothing I've smelled before. And it captures that kind of mushroomy essence really well, but it's still like, I don't know how to describe it. It's still light, but a skin scent, and it was just really interesting, so I had to pick it up. And I actually have another one from Tamburins because they're just so good. Camel in their egg shaped size. It's chamomile scent. As you can tell, I love tea fragrances, so Korea really got me. If you love tea fragrances, Korea got you. But yeah, this one is also really nice. It's light. It's not too heavy. Very like clean girl, clean boy kind of vibe. And then with all of that, I got a free sample kit as well as and in the sample kit it includes like this dog holder pouch, which you can kind of slip a sample inside of here. And carry it around with you, which I thought is really cool. They're just really good with their branding and imaging. All right, next on the list is Youssoful or Youssoful. To play on word on youthful, a Korean person would pronounce it as Youssoful. So I think that's how the name came about. I'm just making assumptions. I'm not actually sure. But one thing I really like about this brand is that at a pretty low-ish price point, they offer a lot of eau de parfums and extrait de parfums. Say they have a very big lineup. I appreciated how it was laid out in the store by notes. So it was like more fruity, more floral, more woody, kind of like an ingredient, which I really appreciated when kind of sniffing and smelling through it. They also have a lot of diffusers and hand wash and stuff, but yeah. I believe they have locations. They have one in Hongdae, one in Bucheon Hanok Village, and one in Insadong. Their stores are all really beautiful as well. I don't think they do international shipping as well, but I don't know. People prove me wrong and drop links in the comments, please. Some of their fragrances, they have a very big lineup. Some of them, I was like, this is just a dupe. Like, there's like a Parent Freesia dupe and a Santal dupe, but I did pick up one fragrance from them, which I tried to resist, I really did, but Diving Cephalus Biagia, not something I've smelled before really. Oh, and like all the fragrances are supposed to remind you of like a place. So this one is supposed to be like the Italian countryside. think like beach time Italian summer with like a glass of limoncello. I really normally don't like aquatic scents because I think a lot of designer men's fragrances are aquatic and like really just heavy and cloying. This one is not like that. It's aquatic, but it's like lemony. It's still light. It's a little salty. It's really good. I really enjoy it. So I'm really excited to be wearing this as the weather gets warmer. Although I'm in San Francisco and it's June and it's really foggy outside right now, but you know, when it's warmer. Next on the list is Born to Stand Out, or BTSO. I believe they just made their way into Sephora, which is super exciting for them. I've been following them, I think, since they very first opened a couple years ago. But yeah, it's supposed to be a rebellion against traditional Korean conservative culture. Born to Stand Out. I will say, the store that I went to, oh my god, it was crazy. So it was 3 floors. The first floor was all the scents, and that was fine. And they have a lot of really interesting ones, I think. There's one thing I like about them. All their scents are very interesting. Not necessarily all wearable, in my opinion, but I like what they're doing. I like what they're doing. But second floor was kind of freaky, like freaky Nicky. Upstairs. Whoa. Okay. Should we just look? I'm sure, I don't know, this is all in Korean, I'm too lazy to read it. And then the third floor was also really cool. Whoa. Wait, I'm getting tripped out because. Whoa. Can I step in here? What if it breaks? Wait, what? Oh, there's more? I thought this was a wall.
Or like we got infinity after.
Wait, no, I thought this was a wall. Hey, I'm scared. Oh, okay. I literally thought it was just this section. I see. Whoa. But yeah, Born to Stand Out. Their fragrances are definitely meant to stand out. I have two. This one is called Dirty Rice. It's a rice scent, but it's a little more musky. I think a lot of rice scents try to really emulate that steamed rice, which I do like, and which is something I do have in my collection. But this one sits a little closer to skin, which I like. And then this one is called Mud. It's kind of supposed to be a chocolatey dirt scent. Mud. It kind of reminds me like it's raining. You're in a field of flowers, but it's raining, and like the dirt is just like you're laying face down in it. Kind of like in a bad romance or a horror movie. You're laying face down in the dirt, in a field of roses or something, and that's what this kind of smells like. But I like it. Yeah, I think the locations are Hannam-dong, and they just opened one in Seongsu as well. Most of these are in Seongsu, honestly. If you just go to Seongsu, like you'll have a good time and you'll hit most of these. So okay, next on our list we have SW19. I'm not sure if there's a better way I'm supposed to be saying that, but from what I can gather, it's supposed to be inspired by the shifting mist and the green landscapes of the Wimbledon Common in London. SW19 is the UK postal code. So it's like, it was all time-based, which I thought was really interesting. So they had scents for different times of the day. Very interesting conceptually. Honestly, there were so many people in there. I was really overstimulated at that point. But yeah, I thought this place also had really interesting scents as well that were different from the normal Korean like super light fragrances. Honestly, some of them were too interesting for me to handle. Like my nose was just so scented out. But they had a lot of cool fragrances. I would still recommend. Yeah, I think this one was in Seongsu. There's another one in Shinsadong, I think is their flagship, but go check them out as well. Next on our list is Kinfolk. I think they had 2 locations in Seongsu, which I was confused about. From what I can gather online, it's supposed to be an upscale, olfactive extension of the renowned Kinfolk media empire. So trying to bring kind of a magazine aesthetic to life. Yes, I will say a lot of the fragrances here didn't stand out to me in particular. I think it's a good place to go if you are a beginner fragrance enthusiast because not so like different or out there, which is not a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing at all, ever. And so I think when a place is more quote unquote basic, it's a good place to send beginners. I did actually grab one called Atreides. I picked it up because it actually was interesting to me. So they have a lot of scents. So you know what? You'll probably find something you like. Yeah, I thought this was really interesting because I don't see a lot of citrus and leather scents. This one is very citrusy on the top notes, but it dries down into more of those leather and woods. Okay, next on our list, Pesade. Another place where I got too overstimulated because there's just so many people, and the Seongsu location storefront is not that big. But yeah, I really do appreciate the way that their scents are kind of, they're like you can pick up this bowl that has like the fragrance oil in it, and you can pick it up and smell it, which I thought was nice. I think their original location is in Hannam-dong. I will say a lot of the fragrances in there, maybe I just didn't like because they were a lot more woody than I normally like. Woods and I have a complex relationship, but if you're into that, I think they have a lot of really nice like woody, earthy, musky fragrances that could be up your lane. So definitely worth giving them a try if you're in Hannam-dong or in Seongsu. Next on our list, another really popular one in Korea, Nonfiction. Founded in 2019. I think this is like one of the early big hitters in Korea. Like really that minimalist aesthetic. I think I saw a video also about Nonfiction's founder, Cha Hae-young, woman owned, so but you know, really driving that minimalist approach in the branding, and it really spoke volumes in Korea. I believe they actually just opened their first U.S. store in New York, which is super exciting. So that just I think goes to show how much the brand has grown over the past 6-7 years. While I say a lot of Korean brands are like really clean and minimalist, this is probably the blueprint for that. So you can't really hate because this is really where it started. Yeah, location in Seongsu-dong, Hannam-dong, I think Samcheong-dong, and New York City. If you can't get your hands on it in Korea, you can actually get your hands on it here in the US as well. They have a lot of fragrances. I picked up one of their like sample sets of their best sellers because they just have so many that are good. But I was like, I can't drop a ban. This was the first store I visited. I was like, I can't drop a band on the first store. So I got 3 of their samples. This is Gentle Night. If it'll focus. This is Gentle Night. It's a fig, white tea, and cedarwood scent. Just, I don't know, just so clean and refreshing. Like fig, tea, and cedarwood, like how could you go wrong? Next, this is Gaiac Flower. I've actually been really into Gaiac wood these days. I think Gaiac wood is a lot softer and a little sweeter than other woods in my opinions, at least the ones that I've smelled. So combining that with some floral notes is really nice and clean. I would say it kind of reminds me of a warm summer night, if anything, or a warm spring night, honestly, if it gets warm in spring in your area. I don't know. I don't really have seasons that much in California, but that's what it reminds me of. And then last is Santal Cream. I think it's hard to not compare any Santal scent to Le Labo's Santal, but I will say this is lighter, less cloying. I think Santal can come off a little strong. This one's definitely lighter, more refreshing than Le Labo Santal 33. It's 33? I think it's 33. Okay, next on the list is Nahu's. Wow. This store was like so drop dead quiet, but a gorgeous space. I did struggle to say anything in that store. It's just so quiet. It was just so quiet. This store is definitely not for fragrance beginners. The scents here were so mature and complex that it was hard for even me to appreciate a lot of them. Maybe I'll go back in a couple years. I think if I go back in a couple years, I'll really enjoy some of the fragrances. Cool in there. The space was just so cool. Luxury, money, cool that I don't have. Next on the list is GRANHAND. This is also one of the OGs. I will say their fragrances are more like body mists in my opinion. They're relatively on the weaker side, but they are a lot cheaper. But recently, actually, and I discovered this when I went into the store in, I think it was the Pukchon Hanok Village location. But they have a new line of, I guess, higher concentration fragrances that are really nice. One of them actually reminded me of the Labo's Violet 30. If I hadn't bought this before, I would have bought I would have bought it. But yeah, also really like their normal ones, like the Eau de Toilette, I want to assume, maybe weaker. They come in these spray bottles that are packaged in this kind of jute sack bottles. Very OG Korean, like light, pleasant, easy to wear. But some of their newer ones in their stronger concentration bottles at a higher price point are really nice. They are really nice. I will say, yeah. So the newer ones are in glass bottles. The OG ones are in plastic bottles, but honestly, great deal on the price. Like you could do like 10 sprays and you can just, it's not that it won't break the bank. So I think they have locations in Gwanghwamun, Hongdae, and Gangnam as well. But yeah, this store is very definitely like great to visit because it's just so beautiful. Okay, next one I want to highlight is Postus. Very experiential. This was kind of towards one of the ends of Seongsu. Yeah, I don't know if this is their first physical locations. I know they've had pop-ups in the past. Basically, they're based on like this interactive mailroom concept. So each of the fragrances is supposed to represent, I think, a city or a place. Fragrance as a postcard, right? So the vibe is supposed to be, you know, you send like a postcard to someone, maybe your lover, maybe your family member, maybe your friend, where you kind of spritz your city's perfume, the scent onto it and send it out into the world. So they're all supposed to be very geographical and nostalgic based on wherever you know they are. And I will say most of the fragrances, like most of the cities, are not like your major hubs like Tokyo or Los Angeles or Seoul. Or like Istanbul or Saint Tropez. They have Havana, Bern. I don't even know where that is. Otaru, which I assume is in Japan. They have one for Amalfi, Mallorca. So really interesting locations, pretty interesting scents. This was at the end of my Seongsu day. So I was like, as you can see in the video, I'm just like, I'm so fried, but definitely give them a visit as well. Okay, next, also in Seongsu was Shiro. I didn't know, like I just found this one walking around, but they're actually from Japan. I was also really scented out right here and needed to eat. So I didn't smell too much. It was also really, really crowded. I was just so overstimulated. Yeah, it focuses on hyper minimalist raw materials. So clean, natural extracts. I don't know. I think a lot of modern perfumery, like it's hard to say what's like clean or natural because so many things are based on synthetics because a lot of naturals are banned and or really, really hard to source or really expensive. Japanese market and Korean market are a little similar in the fragrance that it's clean, not too overbearing. Like you have really densely populated cities, so yeah, definitely worth checking out, especially if you are interested in fragrances from Japan. I just personally was not able to really get in there. One of the last places I visited, which is not actually a store, I guess, but more of an experience, called Rettre. They have a few locations in Seongsu, I think. So you smell each scent for 20 seconds, and then you rest for 20 seconds all while looking at the picture, and it measures your brain waves, I guess. 네.
프레시한 느낌도 있어서 되게 매력이 많은
네.
향이에요. 너무 시트러스나 프레시한 향만 들어가면
네.
너무 향이 가벼워질 수 있어서
네네.
살짝 눌러줄 수 있는 화이트 플로럴 향인데
그런 것도 괜찮아요.
괜찮아요.
Analysis is done, and now they have a formula laid out for us. So time to go shopping and make it according to the formula. So here is the bucket that they gave me, which is really cool, and the fragrance that I ended up making. I think it's good to have somewhat of an idea of what you want going into it, or what you like. But if you don't, they'll kind of help you. I made this kind of a pretty fresh scent. So it has a lot of green notes, basil, fig, bergamot, and then royal water, tuberose, agarwood, and musk. So I don't know, it's just very me. Based on your reactions, they'll tell you how much to put in each gram, and it was so cheap. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was like 3만 or 4만, like 30,000 or 40,000 won, which is like 20 to 30 US dollars. And you can actually upgrade it to have a higher concentration for manon. So 10,000 won, like 7-ish dollars. So I took the upgrade and it was a really great experience. And I would highly recommend. So that was all the ones I visited, I think. There honestly, I think were more that I just didn't film. There's so many. If you go to Seongsu, there's so many. There's so many. Definitely worth checking them all out. If this is your thing, if fragrance is your thing, plan a trip to Korea, honestly. They have several Labo locations in Korea. The one near Pukchon Hanok village is so beautiful. Let me play the Be Real. Look at this.
traditional.
Oh, they even have a cafe. So beautiful inside, and the fragrances are cheaper to buy them in Korea than if you were to buy them in America. With the conversion and like with the tax rates and all of that, like you get a pretty hefty discount. So if you're looking to buy a Korean some Labo, I would wait until you get to Asia. And then this is one I picked up 2 years ago actually, Citron 28. This is the Seoul exclusive. That's all the ones I visited. Diptyque also has a Seoul exclusive candle. I smelled it. It was fine. You might like it better than I do, but that's also something to know. Now this is a section for all the ones that I didn't see on my For You page before I went to Korea, and I wish I did, but you have this video, so you can plan a better Korea itinerary that is more comprehensive than mine. I guess I need to go back to Korea, but starting off with just the one brand from which I own a fragrance is Elorea. They have an LA location, so that's where I bought this. I think they also have a New York location. I think they have a Korean location, but maybe it's more Korean American geared. No, but I swear they must have a Korean location. Anyway, the LA location has a cafe and it's on a rooftop, really pretty. They have a lot of interesting scents that are like rooted in Korean culture and history, which I think is really cool. They have one about the Hanya, which is like the Korean, like the female freedivers from Jeju Island. If you watch When Life Gives You Tangerines, you know what I'm talking about. They have like a series that's like Earth, Fire, etc. But this one is called Gentle Shower. I really like this one because of the gennip or perilla leaf note that they have in here, which I thought was really interesting. I haven't ever encountered gennip outside of Korea. I know Japanese shiso is like a relative of gennip. Yeah, but good news for you, they have US locations if you're watching this from the US. I don't know where people actually watch my videos from, so maybe leave a comment. Fragrance houses that I just did not visit and I have no interaction with before. There's about 6 of them. So this is going to be a little bit more rapid fire. First on our list is Matthew Chang Perfumes. I think launched in 2023. Founder Matthew Chang. The bottles are just so pretty. Like look at these bottles. And every time like the store is so pretty. I wish I visited, but nobody told me. Anyway, I think the ethos is supposed to be liquid, flowers, nature, emotions. Slow down the fast-paced modern world and freeze romantic encounters in time. So I think it's really pretty. I think the branding is really pretty. I don't know what, like when the bottle is pretty, you want to buy it, and I guess that's part of perfumery. So I would go check them out. Next is Eloea or Life on Earth. I think it was founded by some K beauty and fragrance veterans who were like, all this stuff is like way too pretentious and expensive. Let's make a fragrance brand. I think their ethos is basically creating clean scents, but at a more affordable price compared to some of the other houses. But yeah, very much based in Korea. They're like very small as well. Another one is called Afterblow. I think this one is supposed to target a younger Korean demographic. Yeah, the bottles are really cool. It's a sister brand of Diptyque. Yeah, a lot of their fragrances are inspired by nature. Very affordable price tag. I think they kind of focus on creating that scent bubble. Very Korean. But yeah, if you go on their about page, it's the scent left by the wind. 바람이 남기고 간 아름다운 향. Fragrances you can guess by their names. Golden floral, woody fig, aqua tangerine, cotton fog. So kind of get the gist. Their scents are very scent names are very descriptive of what they are. Next on the list is Concreted. I think they have a Korean location, but they also ship to the US. And I think you can also get them through like Lucky Scent and things like that because I've actually gotten a few samples from them. Like they kind of translate really specific Korean like foods or memories into fragrances. So very like clean gourmand, but also urban. Yeah, so I smelled Sesame Shower, which is like this really toasty sesame, really yummy. They have other things that are inspired by Korean like drinks like cinnamon punch or like omija. Yeah, I think very worth it to give them a visit. I just ran out of time. Another one I've seen online that I did not get to visit, KST Scent. I'm recording this in June, like editing this is probably gonna be the longest time I'm gonna take to edit a video, just because there's so much footage. But if by the time I finish editing it, it is still June, I'll try to get it up by June because it's KST Scent. They have some interesting scents, like that are very fitting for June, like Gay Oppa, and Power. But I think they're very focused on like these like kind of subverting like memories and moments of Korea that are not like traditionally like conservative. Like yeah, some of their scents they have like a banana milk coffee or rice cake, which are pretty normal. But yeah, you also have like tambe or tambe, which is like to smoke in Korea, like pochabar, like somek. They even have like a tangulu. So it's an indie project by Chung Kyle. I'm gonna assume that's how you say it, and James Nguyen. So it's actually Korean and Vietnamese kind of together. Olfactive art rooted in Vietnamese and Korean origins, reimagined through a queer contemporary lens, telling stories that are intimate, emotional, and boldly personal. So super cool actually. Let's see, and I think they do ship internationally. So maybe I'll get some samples. And then last but not least is 0.25 seconds, I think. I really wanted to visit one of these locations. I think they have one in Seongsu and one in Pukchon, Hanok Village. But they do these like tea tastings, which I think is really cool. I think it's tea and fragrance paired together, which I really love because I love tea and I love tea fragrances. So obviously it'd be perfect for me. Next time, so many places to visit that the next time I go to Korea. But yeah, a lot of their scents seem to be inspired by different memories or places. Like they have white swinging, so it's like memories of rolling in the snow, blanketed by the the white snow. Or they have butterflies at a creek, so it's like early summer dawn, cool breeze with grass, things like that. So also things I would love to smell, but I'll have to wait until the next time we go to Korea. So that was all the ones I saw. I think there are some in Seongsu that I walked into, but I just can't remember. If I missed any, let me know in the comments. But I hope this video was helpful. I'll leave my Seongsu itinerary in the comments below. It covers like a good majority of the fragrance houses. If you hit Seongsu, if you hit Cheonhanam Village, and you hit Hannam-dong, you should be able to hit, I think, every single fragrance house that I mentioned today. So hope that was helpful. I hope that gave you an insight into the world of Korean perfumery. And who knows? I would love, you know what I would love? I would love to open a boutique like Scent Bar or Ministry of Scent in the US that just like brings all of these scents and you can smell them in a space like Asian inspired scents. Not even just Korea, I know like China, Taiwan, Japan, Vietnam, Thailand, like everyone is doing really creative things with scents these days. So I'd love to have a space to feature fragrances from Asia. Not even just, I think that was only East and Southeast Asia, but like also like South Central Asia as well. That's a pipe dream. I have no idea how that would work, but I would love to have a store so that everyone in the US could, you know, smell these scents and experience them for themselves. But anyway, I hope this is helpful for anyone who is looking to go to Korea and wanting to explore scents. So yeah, hope that was helpful. If you have any questions about any specific scents that I mentioned, feel free to leave the questions in the comments below. And once I get to editing all of this footage, it'll be out soon. Happy June. Peace.